Hi there, friends. My name's Eli, and I'm delighted that you've come to join us here for this webinar about unlocking the power of matching grants, and specifically as we all prepare for the North Texas Giving Day. Fundraising is hard. No lie, it is. But luckily, we brought in an expert, Aretha Simons, who can guide you with some step by step and easy approaches to unlock the power of matching grants. So this webinar is being presented by TechSoup, but really behind it all is the Communities Foundation of Texas. And so to introduce today's event, we've got Rocio Castaneda, who is the program officer. So with that, let me pass over the mic.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in today. We're really glad that you could be here. My name is Rocio Castaneda, and I am the program officer for the North Texas Giving Day team at the Communities Foundation of Texas. I serve as the liaison between the nonprofits and the Communities Foundation, and you might see me in events throughout North Texas, like the Coffee and Connections coming up starting tomorrow, and responding to customer service questions, or working with partners such as TechSoup to bring you trainings like this one. This summer, we will be partnering with TechSoup to bring you 8 pre-recorded trainings and 2 live webinars in topics that we think will help you prepare and launch a successful North Texas Giving Day campaign. In 2023, so last North Texas Giving Day, 282 organizations raised over $9 million in matching dollars during North Texas Giving Day. And the nonprofits that secure and met their match raised 60% more than they did the previous year. This is why we're bringing you this specific training about matching funds. If you have any questions specific about North Texas Giving Day, the platform, and how to create a matching fund on your profile, please look at our nonprofit resource. And of course, I'll be here helping respond some of the questions specific to the platform. But of course, we want to take advantage of our expert today.
I want to now get ready to pass the baton over to our guest expert for the day. Aretha Simons is the founder of Multiplying Talents International and is a retired Navy veteran with extensive experience in nonprofit startups, grant writing, and grant review, spanning about 20 years. She served during Operation Desert Storm and Operation Iraqi Freedom and is committed to coaching and guiding individuals with a passion for community service. Her dedication to the community service has led her to establish her nonprofit, and get this, she was honored with an all expense paid trip by Oprah Winfrey to address the US Senate on nonprofit funding. Aretha has conducted many workshops and seminars across the nation for colleges, churches, and conferences, including renowned organizations like the Disney Entrepreneur Center and the Department of Labor. So we've got a wealth of knowledge here, which means don't be shy with your questions because this is your opportunity. And with that, over to you, Aretha.
Eli, thank you so much. And Rosia, I am so glad you're here. I have so much to say about the North Texas Dinner Day. Although I live in Florida, I live in Orlando, Florida. I'm excited that you're here and that the Communities Foundation of Texas is sponsoring this webinar. Hello, everybody. As Eli said, my name is Aretha Simons. I'm going to go over the agenda real quick because we have a lot to cover. Today, we're going to talk about understanding matching grant because a lot of people hear about matching grant, or maybe this is your first time hear about matching grant. And I would love to know if this is your first time hearing about matching grant. Have you ever applied for a matching grant? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever applied for a matching grant, a 2 if you have not. We're also going to talk about identifying potential match partners. And then we're going to talk about a campaign planning and execution. And then I have a success story I want to share with you, someone that has used North Texas Giving Day for many years. So let's have the discussion about matching grants on the next slide. And I see a lots of twos in here. So a lot of people are familiar or not familiar with matching grants. So let's get into this on the next slide. Let's really find out what matching grant is. So here is basically, we're going to talk about in this next part for the next 5 or 10 minutes, how they work and the benefits of matching grant. So if for the people who put a 2 in there who haven't applied for matching grant, we're going to talk about how they work on the next slide. So we'll go to the next slide and just talk about how they work. So in simple terms, for every dollar that's donated by a foundation, a corporation, or a donor, it'll be matched, which will turn each dollar into two, each $1 into two. So that sounds simple enough, right? So you may be saying, look, I already know that. I know that. But here are several types of matching grants that you may not be familiar with. The one, as I mentioned, the dollar for dollar matching grant, that's the most common one where I'm going to donate five and you may get five from a donor. But with those matching grants, some of them use volunteer hours. So that's very important to know. We're going to look at a grant website in a few minutes. It's very important to know your volunteer hours. So I hope you are keeping track of those volunteer hours, including the volunteer time that you spend if you're not getting paid by your nonprofit that you spend on your organization. So the dollar for dollar match is the most common one. And then there's some challenge grant. I've seen that quite a lot. And I've seen some people start it and they never finish it because those challenge grants are when funds are released only if you reach your target goal. So if you say we're going to raise $1 million and you don't reach your target goal, then those funds will not be released. So be specific, be concise, be clear with your board members. Hey, this is how much we know we can raise so that you can get those challenging grant monies. Then we have the partial grant matches. That's where a certain percentage of each donation is matched. For example, like 50 cents for every dollar, or the person saying we'll give you 25% for every dollar. So it just depends on what the funder has agreed and you have agreed with the funder. So if you're doing your own campaign, you and your board members decide, hey, let's have a matching grant fundraising challenge. Then these are some ideas that you can discuss with your board members, whether you want to ask for a dollar per dollar match, or whether we want to say, hey, with this partners, let's do a challenge grant. I've seen that with building funds and things like that. People saying we can reach $1 million and somebody will pledge $1 million. Or if you want to do a partial grant. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about the benefits of a matching grant. And if you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat and also put your questions in the Q&A. You don't mind waiting for the end for us to answer the question, but if it's something burning, go ahead and put it in the chat. So the benefits of the matching grant for nonprofits, as we said, most donors, they're really motivated. When you see those matching grant challenges, sometimes they know that their dollar is going to be double. So it helps the nonprofit reach their goals faster. So it's a way to amplify your fundraising efforts. But this is usually often done in fashion. It creates an urgency. So donors usually act quick, especially if you keep sending the reminder, hey, we're almost at our goal. We almost reaching. We got one more week. We got one more day. Help us reach our goals. So your donors are going to see that you have momentum and they'll say, okay, I can help them reach that $1,000. They've raised $950. They only need $50 more. So I can go ahead and donate. So I love these matching grant challenges because it does create a sense of urgency. But I believe another benefit of the matching grant is that it increases participation. And usually this is the time where you attract new donors because someone is usually sharing this, hey, help my friend, help my nonprofit, or help this nonprofit. I love them. They take care of animals. They help you with cancer, help them reach their goals. So it's a psychological incentive where everybody gets involved because they feel good and they feel like their contributions are more significant. That's in my opinion. So this makes people likely more to give. So you're probably going to get the new faithful supporters or some other outsiders who will become long-term supporters. So that is one of the main benefits because when, not if, but when you are successful with your matching grant campaign, this can foster a sense of accomplishment and loyalty among your donors. So you send them an email, hey, we reached our goal. We couldn't have done it without you. Yeah, just all this encouragement. They will probably, you know, support you in the future. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a big fan of North Texas Giving Day. I have someone who sends me an email every year. I don't know if you do it twice a year. You can put it in chat if you're doing that twice a year. I don't know, but I'm getting emails quite often about this. I want to just recap some of the benefits of the matching grant. Again, it can increase your donations. It enhances your visibility by people sharing it with other people. And just keep in mind too, these crowdsourcing fund campaigns. In a moment, I'm going to go to a website that's going to help you because I know a lot of people say, how can we reach the donors? And just your regular donor base, your friends, your families, and friends of friends who you always reach out to, they probably will support you, but you want to find some new donors. And I think I'm not pushing North Texas Giving Day. I'm saying that I know that they have reached out to many other donors on your behalf. So all you have to do is your part in raising your goal of $1,000, $10,000, and they're going to match it. So let's go to the next slide because we're going to get into a little bit more about understanding and identifying those potential match donors. I said I wanted to go to a website. I'm going to do that in a moment, but let's talk about some foundations. I don't know how many are you using local foundations where you know local foundations like the Community Foundations of Texas who have a history of supporting similar causes to yours. Then there's some national foundations. Those national foundations you can Google all day long trying to find a list of funders, but it's best to have access to a database, Candid or Grant Station or Grant Watch or the foundation directory. So it's best to, I don't know if you who have access to those databases. I would love to know because it's very important, especially if you are writing grants, if you are the grant writer for your organization. I know many of you wear hats. Put in the chat if you have an access to those databases. So I see people putting Foundation Center in there. It's very much a lot of people saying, yes, I do. That's very good. Sometimes they're costly, but it's worth it because it saves you time. And so I want to talk about the corporate donors. So when you identify corporate donors, and all corporate donors have what we call the corporate social responsibility. They're going to be taxed on their excess funds and lose it anyways. So they rather donate to a nonprofit. So you want to identify those companies who have a CSR, corporate social responsibility, and oftentimes have that on their website. I know our local grocery store, Publix here, they have it on their website. They mention that they have a social responsibility to help nonprofits, and they have a link directly on their website saying, "Here is what you can apply for." And a lot of times you may not see the word matching grant, but you can ask them if they will allow you to apply for matching or if they will match your grant saying you have this campaign. So many times they're looking to support community initiatives. So just keep that in mind that a lot of them are open to matching grants and sometimes you have to be the one to ask. So they also have employee match gift programs. So if you have an organization, AT&T, I know a lot of major companies, they have employee match gift programs. So ask them if they have an employee match gift program so that they can help you meet your goal when you're doing the matching grant campaign. I also want to talk about some online databases. You can use your crowdsourcing funds like GoFundMe and you name it. There's many. I don't want to get into naming the ones and forget some of those, but I see a lot of people put Grant Station in there. So I want to just go to Grant Station real quick because that's what I pay for to have access to. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Just one moment. So give me a second. Pause. And you can put any questions that you have in the chat for me. And I still see people putting in there who they're using, Candid, Grant Station, and all that. Can you explain what match means? It seems like these gifts are committed by donors regardless of how much we raise. Not necessarily. So that's a great question, Shannon. While I'm trying to pull up this Grant Station website, that's a great show. I'm gonna answer your question. So the matching, again, as I said earlier, it's where you are doing a campaign and you're telling your donors, we plan to raise $100,000, but really you only have the capacity to raise $50,000. And so if you raise the $50,000, then your donors will match your campaign by raising the extra or donating. I won't say raising because they may have it. Donating the extra $50,000. So here is my access to Grant Station. And basically what I would do, I would go in and look for find grant makers. And if I hit find grant makers, I want to go to US charitable grant makers. And if I click on that, then I would go to the type of support. Because remember, I was telling you it's different types of support. And so as you see, there's a list. It's broken down advocacy, emergency funds, endowments, but I'm looking for matching. And so here I find matching. I click on that and I scroll back up and it's going to populate. That's why these databases are important. It's going to populate how many corporations, foundations, or even private family foundations have the word matching in their RFPs. So I got 643 results. So if I wanted to click on one, then I would just click on one, and here it gives you all kinds of information. So I'm gonna go to US Charitable, and then I'm gonna go back to find that matching grant. You guys can still see it. That types of support, as you see the area of interest. That's why, again, these databases are important. So I'm going to go to matching, and it should populate that 643 results. So now I have the grant maker. I have all the needs. I know when the deadline is. I know the geographical scope they serve. And you can even change it by putting Texas in. So you know that this is for Texas. But I'm just going to click on one because it's important to, when you're finding this, to look at that criteria. Just click on the first one. So I'm just going to go here, and it says support is provided for work that. And I'm going to look for something that I know to look for because I'm looking for grants. I read these all the time. So here's important. This is important. It says incorporate a degree of volunteer labor. Remember a few minutes ago when I mentioned that volunteer labor? So sometimes matching grant is not dollar for dollar. You have to, depends on what the organization says, the foundation said. So a lot of it is labor. I used to be a grant reviewer for the city of Orlando, and they would allow you to match the grants with the volunteer labor. So if you Google the amount, how much is the volunteer labor worth? To each state is different. I think right now it's like $33 here in our area, but some states it's a little lower, maybe $30. It changes every year, but you can just Google how much is the value of a volunteer and it'll come up. And so what they would do for the city of Orlando, if we had $5,000 worth of volunteer hours, quote unquote, then they would give us the $5,000 in cash. So they would give us a check for $5,000. We didn't have to ask people for the $5,000. They would do that by the volunteer label. So make sure you read all the details of those RFPs or the grant requirements. So it says use its matching agency and local funds, as well as in-kind support. This is another one, and pro bono. Pay attention to those details. So if I were to donate my services of whatever counseling, coaching for your organization, say you were coaching people who were coming into a transition home, and the value of my service is $10,000. So they would give you a $10,000 check, the nonprofit, not to pay me because I'm giving it to you as an in-kind service or pro bono. So it's those little things. Matching grant is not always about dollar for dollar. Money is important, but sometimes people can use a building or use teachers to teach rather than the money. So it just depends on what you need. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to the slides. Right now, I'm explaining about how matching funds work. And we're going to talk about North Texas Giving Day in a moment. And North Texas Giving Day, yes, it does operate differently. If you can go to the next slide, I think this might answer some of the questions. We're going to talk about campaign planning and execution. So this is a way you can develop a step-by-step plan for integrating matching grants into your North Texas Giving Day campaign, from the initial outreach to the campaign follow-ups. And you can see that this is underlined. So when you get these slides tomorrow, later today or tomorrow, if you click on them, there will actually be a handout. So I'm going to briefly touch on these for the sake of time, but there's going to be a handout that explains in detail a little bit more. So that's a little gift for me. On the next slide, I'm just going to break these down a little bit before I get to introducing my guest who has a success story. So when you are getting ready to set up your campaign, you're going to set clear goals. Now, this is when you are going to meet with your board of directors, because your board of directors should be involved in getting ready to start this matching grant campaign. Now, normally you would have to identify a potential match grant funders, but North Texas has helped you on the back end by identifying community foundations and corporations who will match your funds. But all you have to do is reach out to your friends, family, friends of friends, everybody on your social media, the people who are in your donor list who will constantly donate to your organization and say, hey, we have this great opportunity to raise these matching funds. Here's our goal. Here's how you can help. And I know there's a whole kit that North Texas they will give to you. So you want to keep that in mind. Again, you definitely should be sitting down with your board members or your advisor or whoever helped you with fundraising because it's going to take all of you to get involved. One person should not be doing the fundraising. So I already mentioned the types of matching grants. And then what you want to do is develop a matching grant strategy. Now, what do I mean by strategy? Again, I can't say enough by setting a goal, but you want to set this as a realistic goal because I have seen people set a goal of $10,000 and they raised $30. Yeah, I was gonna say 30,000, but it was really $30 that they raised from their friends and family. So what happened? I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know if they marketed enough. I don't know if they were consistent and following everything. I do not know. But the main thing is that you want to make sure that you are really paying attention and monitoring that and setting clear goals. How much have you raised this year? If you know that your organization is able to raise 100,000, then set that as your goal. You know your donors that how much they've given throughout the year. That's your goal. And some people say, "I'm going to aim high," but if you aim high and you don't reach that goal, it's not a good look. I don't know about you, but to me, it's not a good look. We want to have that we reached that, we filled in that red line and we went above that red line. So again, that realistic goal, but make sure that you have a clear funding plan too. When I say a funding plan, if you write down what these funds are going to be used for, that'll help people give to that organization or your organization. So you want to set up a process of securing these grants from your friends, family, or friends of friends, whether it's through PayPal, whether it's through text to give. There's so many ways to give now. Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, you name it. And then there's a lot of nonprofit websites that offer you ways to give where you don't pay any money or they pay the fee. So that's very important. Then you want to promote your campaign. I'm so excited in a few moments to talk about my guest. She does some tremendous promotion. Promote your campaign on social media. If you're uncomfortable with social media, please get comfortable with social media. But we don't want to just go on social media when it's time to ask people to give. So you should be already be promoting. Hopefully you are. And so when you start promoting your campaign, it'll be easier for people to follow you because they know you're not saying give me all the time. So that's important. You want to engage and motivate your followers or your donors. It's very important to engage them and motivate them by telling them stories. Tell them how your organization made a difference in Susan. Susan she went from prison to going to college and now she's helping mentoring other children. She's got her children back. You want to give stories and help motivate those donors and then utilize visual content. One visual content videos are they're like gold. Even if you are not talking on the video, if the video is just playing music, but people see the pictures or the visual. So try to go ahead and create some visual content before you start putting out your information or asking for those donations. Just a plan to get ready. This is a strategy. And then you want to leverage influence and ambassadors. I know everybody in here knows somebody. I have celebrities in my family. I know you have celebrities in your family, or your friends know celebrities, or somebody knows celebrities. Leverage their influence. And a lot of people say, I don't like to ask them. If you don't ask, then sometimes you don't get fed. So it's okay to do it because this is a good cause. And so you want to remind them, hey, this is a good cause. And then the next thing you want to do is monitor and adjust. Now, what do I mean by that? You want to monitor and track your progress. If you're not meeting your goal or people are not giving and the deadline is in 5 more days, then you got to do some adjusting. Maybe you have to do more social media. Maybe you have to do more videos. Maybe you have to make phone calls because, again, this is a campaign. I know it's campaign season and you're getting phone calls and you're getting texts from people you don't know asking for donations. This is your time to do the same thing to them. How about that? And then, of course, you want to do a post-campaign follow-up. Always say thank you. Send those personal thank you notes to all of your donors, even if they donated $5. It's important to say thank you. I can't say that enough. And then you want to share detail on how their donations impacted your organization. When you raise that funds, you were able to help an entire family get back on their feet. Whatever you do, there's all kinds of things that people do here. So I don't want to get into that, but you want to make sure that you share detailed impact on what the donations, and then try to keep them engaged. So you've got their email, you've got their contact. Those are your donors now. Even if they've never donated, you want to keep them engaged by keep sending them monthly emails about what you're doing, how much money you've raised since then, and the food you were able to buy with the money moving forward, and just keep them informed. So I want to look into the chat and see if there's anything that I missed.
So I've got one here actually from Grace who asks, are there any matching grant databases available for free? And I know that different regions, it can be very different, but I know in some areas, the public library will often have as one of their resources a grant matching database.
Yeah, that was the good one. The library, the database that I showed you earlier on Grant Station, if you go to your public library, not all libraries, usually the main library, because they have to pay to use it. Because you got to remember, a lot of these organizations are nonprofits too. They have to pay employees. And so you have to manage this database, remove people or remove things that are not being used. And the library will have access to this because they paid for it, and you can sit there and gather the information, email it to yourself or print it out. That's what you can use for now.
One other question here coming in from Linky, who's saying, in your experience, what's the best length for videos? They have one which is a list of highlights, but Linky kind of suspects it might be a bit long. Do you have a sense roughly? Because I know it'll be a little different for every org.
It will, but you guys know on social media, we like these 8 seconds, 30 seconds, less than a minute video. So if you can chop it up, that'll probably help you. And if you have a long video, it probably is a good chance to go ahead and chop it up.
Yeah, I think the chopping is great to sort of say, can I get multiple uses out of this video by creating different lengths? Finally, there's been some questions here just about people's expectations around North Texas Giving Day. Like, who should be bringing the matching funds into theirs? How is it implemented through the platform? If you've got a moment just to guide people a little bit more through the high level of the process of participation, that would be very helpful.
Yes. So nonprofits are actually responsible for finding a matching fund donor. So it is up to the relationship that nonprofits have with their usual donor base to really either approach someone they know has given big gifts in the past, or perhaps it's just someone who one year decided to make a larger donation, and really to keep that relationship with those donors. Once a donor has made the decision to give through a matching fund, you as a nonprofit can really guide the donor to select what kind of donation they're going to give. For example, through our website, matching fund donors can select how to give. Like, for example, it can be a 2-to-1 donation where, for example, a smaller donor is giving $2 and then the matching fund is for $1. It might be 1-to-1 matching where someone is giving $5, but the matching fund is going to be another $5. You are going to help and guide your matching fund donor to really set the expectation of how communication is going to be happening, but you are responsible for managing that relationship. We have some resources already available, and we'll start dropping them in here. That way people can have a better understanding of how the platform works and how we can make it easy and simple for our matching fund donors to really donate and create that matching fund campaign that then everyone, the public, can see and take a look at. And really, once someone logs in into your account, they'll be able to see if there's a matching fund live and available, and they can donate.
We said we are going to share some success story, and we hope you put your success story in there. I had asked Dr. Sandra Stanley to come on to speak. So from 2018, I pulled from her Facebook because that's the first year that I gave to Sandra in opening doors for women in need for the North Texas Giving Day. And every year I get the email saying, hey, it's that time. And so I donate to them consistently. So Sandra's going to talk about what she does for North Texas Day and how she finds her donors, what she's using, social media, and whatever else you want to share. So Sandra Stanley, she is in Fort Worth, Texas. So if you guys may want to get to know her. Sandra, go ahead and thank you so much for being here today.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited that my friend Aretha has invited me to share with you guys. So, this is one of my favorite times of the year, North Texas Day of Giving. And please don't take it lightly because it's a great opportunity. Because as nonprofit executive directors and founders, we and fundraisers, we're constantly looking for funding. But this is, I think, is an easy way for us to get funds into our back to our nonprofits. So some of the goals that we try to accomplish is always, I love when Aretha said a strategy. Use a strategy, have a strategy about your goal on set a goal. And I think that's some of the mistakes we make. I always set a goal of $10,000. And I know with COVID, after COVID, and so many, you look at the nonprofits that's listed, and sometimes you might get discouraged. I don't want you to be discouraged about what you're going to do with North Texas Day of Giving because you see so many other nonprofits. But it's all about your relationships you have, and you start with your board members. So I start with my board members, and I give them several options of with especially when you're talking about those challenges. So give your board members a challenge first. So if you say, I need each one of you guys, if it's 10 of us, to raise $1,000. So give them the goal of how many, break that down on how they can do that with $25, with $100, with $50, till you can accomplish your goal. And then you reach out to, so you say, I don't want to burn my donors out because I'm always asking them, but maybe you can reach out to one of those donors that you haven't got any funding for that's been faithful in the past and say, look, this is what we're trying to do. And set your strategy and your goal where you can achieve it. So don't go for 30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000 when you aren't sure you can make it because you want to make sure you get those matching dollars. If you can achieve, set your goal to where you can achieve it, then that's what you want to do. So reach back to some of those donors that maybe haven't given you anything in a while and say, hey, they're all familiar with North Texas Day of Giving. If you look on the website, you can see many of those local foundations and donors and private foundations. They are giving to North Texas Day of Giving. So they understand it, they know it, they're excited about it. And so make sure you just reach out to those guys and ask them for those challenging dollars, but make it where you can achieve it, okay? And then another thing Aretha said, follow up. I had a donor come in after it was all over because I wrote a handwritten gift, a thank you gift note, a handwritten a thank you note. And they brought me another check that day because they said, we donated to 3 nonprofits and you're the only one gave us a thank you personal. So we know that North Texas Debt Giving sends out a receipt and a thank you from them. But if they chose us, they should hear from us. So we want to make sure we don't lose donors simply because we didn't send a thank you note. And so I just want you to make a wish list. As she said, make a wish list. Make a wish list of what you might need and tell your donors, if we get this amount, this is what we can do with this amount. And then we always have a pep rally right before we have a pep rally, which we do the video that she talked about. And you can submit those things to North Texas Day of Giving has so many fun challenges and things for us to do. So we submitted our video into North Texas Day of Giving also, but we also used it to market to our donors. So submit a video and tell them what you need and make it fun. And then that day, we have open here in our office, we have some snacks and things. And so those people that might have a challenge of donating online, we tell them to come by here and we'll help them with their donation. So Aretha, I don't want to be talking too much, and I hope I didn't leave out anything. Just reach out, you guys, and make sure you're reaching out to donors that you haven't asked in a while, because I know you don't want to burn out your donors that you've used before.
That was excellent. Thank you so much, Sandra. Someone asked, do you send out personal notes or you send out email thank you note?
You know what? I'm old school, y'all. I'm 67, and those handwritten notes that my mother taught me how to do and we used to do, they work. Because I'm telling you, I have phone calls from people saying, I got your note. And even sometimes you guys can get everybody in the office to sign a note, but I make it personal from me. And as the founder and the CEO, I make it personal. And I'm telling you, I've gotten checks brought into the office. Hey, thank you, Sandra. And just don't get comfortable with your donors. Don't, because they can give to anyone, you guys.
That's right. That's right. That's so good. Eli, do you want to go to Q&A?
And so one of this is just a clarification for our friends at Communities Foundation of Texas around North Texas Giving Day, which is just around the matching funds. Because I know Aretha talked about the two kinds of matching funds, which is the unrestricted version and then the you must hit goal version. And can you just clarify, Rocio, around how the matching funds are set up within North Texas Giving Day's platform?
Hi, everyone. This is Amanda Cole with Communities Foundation of Texas. Thanks so much for joining us today. Aretha and Sandra have done a great job of highlighting the importance of matching funds and how you guys can go about securing them and the importance of them. So, just to clarify a couple things on the North Texas Giving Day site. So, Aretha did share that there is matching funds, and then she also highlighted challenge funds. In the context of North Texas Giving Day, we mean them as the same thing. So you can secure a matching fund slash challenge fund, put it on your Giving Day site, and it's up to you and the donor what the intent is. We highly encourage you to set parameters with that donor on whether or not they'll give you the full match amount if you meet or don't meet the dollars raised. So for example, you go to a foundation and they say we will give you 10 up to $10,000 in matching funds, and let's say your organization only raises 9,000. It's up to that matching fund donor whether or not they will give you the full 10,000 or if they will only give you the exact dollar amount which was raised, which was none. So again, that's between you and the donor. You can set it up however you would like outside of North Texas Giving Day. Then, once you have secured the parameters for your matching funds and it's $10,000, you will hop on your Giving Day site on your organization profile and you will enter in that $10,000. The system will automatically track donations towards that $10,000. And then once that $10,000 has been met or exceeded, the match will then disappear. It will show that the match has been met and it will still highlight the matching fund donor, but it will no longer show that there's a matching fund available. And then I saw another question about it was just above. Yes, when you're working with the donor, the match will go directly to your organization. It does not come through the Giving Day site. You will simply highlight that you have a matching fund available. The dollars we expect to go directly to you, and you notify us that you have a matching fund available. That is one clarification.
There was one more question here just about, is there an admin fee coming through the use of the platform to support the admin costs of North Texas Giving Days campaign?
Yes, matching funds are not provided by Communities Foundation of Texas. It's up to each organization to go out and secure their own matching fund donors. Instead, what North Texas Giving Day has done previously over the last couple of years, if you're a participant, you're a previous participant, you're aware of this, but we cover all of the transaction fees. So over the last 3 years, 100% of every gift has gone to the organizations participating in the month of September. So we cover the transaction credit card fees. We do not provide matching funds. And our goal this year is, again, to cover those transaction fees so that 100% of every gift can go directly to your organization and the great work that you guys are doing.
Awesome. I think that probably speaks to one of the questions, which is what is the involvement of Amazon as a sponsor? And I imagine part of that is to enable things like this sort of no fee experience. So, question here from Alex, who says, I'm a board member and our team is finalizing a dollar amount for a board matching campaign. And they're saying, like, how do you coordinate with Texas Communities Foundation of Texas? And it sounds like basically what you're going to do is arrange it and then just add it into the platform. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Jennifer asks, do you think it's appropriate to put a call to action inside an email newsletter to start soliciting matching funds?
Yeah, absolutely. And matching your newsletter is a great way to highlight that your organization is participating in North Texas Giving Day and that you're really interested in propelling your mission and your movement forward through this fundraising campaign. And to do that, you'd love to secure a matching fund donor. The other thing that you need to think about, and a mass communication to all of your donors is great, but are there a couple of donors who you could handpick out of your roster that you could reach out to, share about North Giving Day, the importance of participating, and highlight how they can really help your organization move forward? And by doing that, they would support a matching fund. It doesn't have to be large, and it can be a whole group of people. So, as Eli just mentioned, Alec is focusing on board members. That's a great opportunity. Start with your board, have each of them put in $50 or $100 towards a matching fund. And if you have board members, you have $1,000 right there as a matching fund that you can use. So it doesn't have to be large to move the needle.
I've got a question here now for Aretha. And the question is, how much lead time do I need to secure one of these matching fund commitments?
It depends on the foundation. If you're talking about a foundation, like I showed you from the grant station one, their deadline was August and September. They will have on the RFP the deadlines to submit it. You want to definitely be ahead of the game and read those criteria.
I've got a question here from our friends over at Communities Foundation of Texas. And the question is, are there any social media content or templates that we can use to support our work around North Texas Giving Day?
Yes, absolutely. So we have created a whole host of resources available to nonprofits, including a matching fund template that you can use to copy and paste to send to donors, to foundations, to whoever you are prospecting about matching funds. So that's one resource that's available to you. And all you have to do is go to the North Texas Giving Day site. And then under for nonprofits, there's a little tab that says resources. And all of those are right there at your fingertips. And then we do include some social media posts and things like that. We're adding new content, especially over the next couple of weeks. We just added the donor postcards today so that you guys can get those printed and mailed for early giving.
Couple more questions for you, Amanda. This is data. Does the nonprofit get all the contact information for people who've given using the giving platform?
Great question. Yes, you get it unless the donor has opted to be completely anonymous. At that point, you will get notified of the dollar amount that they contributed and see what time they gave, etc. But their first and last name and their email address and their mailing address will be hidden from organization.
Question here from Anne. Can you have more than one matching fund? Or can you combine multiple donor sources into one larger fund for matching?
Yes, we highly encourage the more matching funds, the better. And it's up to you guys how you want to structure that. Again, back to that board example, you can highlight 100% board match as one of your opportunities. And then as soon as your organization has met that $1,000 match, you could have it populate with a new match from another source, such as State Farm or another vendor that you're working with.
Two quick questions from Sherry and Elaine about logo. Well, one, do I need to have special permission to use the North Texas Giving Day logo on a flyer I might be creating?
Great question. So we have uploaded the logos. Rocio just dropped the link in the chat. We do ask that you follow our brand guidelines. So we have available for you full color logos and white logos, depending on what you're putting it on. And then we also provided a brand guide kit just to help you figure out what color schemes we're using. As you have seen, we got a new logo this year that we're very excited about. So yes, please use the logo to promote North Texas Giving Day and that you're participating. But again, those brand guidelines will help you make sure that you're using the Giving Day colors and all of that fun stuff.
And final question, and it comes from Tamika, who says, if there was one thing that you would recommend, one magic best practice that we definitely should do, what is that thing that we should consider as for succeeding with the North Texas Giving Day?
So I think that's really great that you're asking that question in here because that is exactly why we hosted this training. Matching funds have the ability to take your organization's fundraising to new heights and really elevate the work that you guys are doing. And that's why we highlighted matching funds. Rosia said it in her entrance, but I want to highlight it again. We saw through research that organizations that secured and were able to mostly meet their match raised 60% more than they did the year prior with no match. So, North Texas Giving Day really allows you to highlight your matching funds and elevate your programming. And the great thing about matching funds too is everyone loves a BOGO deal, right? Like they want their dollar to go just a little bit further. And so this is a great opportunity for your donors to bring their friends, their family, anyone in their network alongside them for donating because their dollars are going further.
Thank you so much. We're really grateful that you were able here to come and join us today. Aretha, again, thank you. And of course, this is only possible because of the support of the Communities Foundation of Texas and the scheming that they've done to build this amazing campaign for the North Texas Giving Day. And with that, thank you and good luck with the Giving Day. You're going to do amazing things. Ciao all.